As a longtime liberal, I refer to myself really as a liberal in the true meaning of that term, a believer in freedom. Unfortunately, we've had to use the word libertarian because, as Schumpeter said, the modern liberals, the socialists of the world, paid free markets the supreme compliment by stealing its name. But as a longtime libertarian, I am puzzled by a paradox. On the one hand, I regard the basic human value that underlies my own beliefs as tolerance based on humility. I have no right to coerce someone else because I cannot be sure that I am right and he is wrong. Why do I regard tolerance as the foundation of my belief in freedom? How do we justify not initiating coercion? Most of you would say, if I asked you, what is the basic philosophy of a libertarian? I think most of you would say, a libertarian philosophy is based on the premise that you cannot initiate coercion, that it's wrong to initiate coercion. What do we base that on? Where does it come from? If we see someone doing something wrong, that we know to be wrong, someone is starting to sin, to use a theological term, let alone just make a simple mistake. How do we justify not initiating coercion? Are we not sinning if we don't stop him? I know only two answers occur to me that make any sense about that. One is, which I regard as largely an evasion, there's no virtue in his not sinning if he's not free to sin. That may be true. But then, that doesn't apply to me. Maybe no virtue for him. That doesn't mean I should let him sin, because I'm sinning when I let him sin. How do I justify letting him sin? I think the most persuasive answer is that, can I be sure he is sinning? How can I be sure I am right and he is wrong? That I know what sin is? I think this is a very complicated and difficult problem. Let me give you a very extreme example. I come up here on Golden Gate Bridge and I see somebody getting ready to jump. He's going to commit suicide. Am I entitled to use physical coercion to stop him, assuming I'm capable of doing so? I think on the basis of the libertarian principle of not initiating coercion, one would have to say no. Yet I am sure that if most of you, like myself, if we would stop him, we'd grab him. We justify that temporarily by saying, well, really, he's behaving, he doesn't really intend to do that, and it's irreversible, and we got to stop him from doing something irreversible. Well, we grab him, we hold on to him, and he gives a perfectly plausible reason why he wants to commit suicide. Are you going to let him go? I don't think that's very easy to answer that. In principle, we ought to say yes. And in practice, I doubt very much that many of us would really, assuming we had the power to hold him, would just let him go. I think what this demonstrates, fundamentally, is that no simple principle is really adequate. We do not have all the answers. And there is no simple formula that will give us all the answers. That's why humility, tolerance, is so basic, is so fundamental. Because the only way we can allow a process to go on whereby we can get a little closer and closer to those fundamental principles is by being tolerant, by recognizing and welcoming the opinions of people who fundamentally disagree with us.